Any romance on the set of Space 1999?
Oh yeah, yeah. Prentice Hancock and I, we had a my lips are sealed. Hey, you know, it's there seriously wasn't. No, there wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of jiggy going on, but that's not. But nobody was falling in love.
Well, what
That
about
was
jiggy?
that was just sort of, you know, stuff that my lips are sealed about. No. And don't forget, I got married not long thereafter. I met my wife between the series of Space 1999. Yeah, I met her on we did the first series from the end of November 1973 right through 75 until March of 74, right through 74 until March of 75. We had all of 1975 off, and I met Hazel on the 28th of November 1975. And it wasn't until about January, as I told you, I think it was like the 6th of January or something, that Jerry Anderson called me down to the studios and said that they wanted to put me back in the series. And that was 1976, and we shot from the middle of January until about the end of November. So the first series took 18 months to shoot 22 episodes. The second series took about 10 months to shoot the same amount of episodes. So you can see how they condensed the show, how they went from 2 big sound stages to 1, how the Moonbase Alpha was much smaller. I guess most of you realize that. And everything else was done quicker. We were shooting the episodes in 8 days, instead of, in some instances, we would take 14 days to shoot some of the earlier shows. I think that's why they were clearly better. There was more time spent on them. Well, you know those uniforms were made out of a material like jersey, and they were incredibly revealing. A lot of the girls, apparently, before they put them on, got a kind of a sticking plaster and put it across their breasts so the nipples wouldn't push out onto the material. It was very soft. And all of the men had to wear like those football jock things to keep you rather flat. You didn't want to get too interested at any time of the day, because the jersey outfits would reveal everything. I was pretty flirtatious in the show, and that was because I'm pretty flirtatious, or used to be. And so the show, originally the character was written for another actor called an Italian actor, and the character was called Alphonse Catani instead of Alan Carter. And so when they decided to use an Australian to play the role, the writers drew on the fact that I was a guy, and they made Alan Carter pretty much from that area of my personality. You know, what would you do? And if you were going to do this and you wanted to be outrageous, how would you tackle it? And so I'd spend time talking to the writers, Chris Penfold and Johnny Byrne, some of the other guys, about how he might respond to stuff. That changed greatly when Fred Freiberger came on board, because he just threw the rules away and had us all doing crazy, wacky, out-of-character stuff, which he thought was funny. And I didn't. But there you go. Like having me sing songs, you know, from nowhere. Suddenly I became this guy that sang all these ridiculous songs.
Who came up with the songs, Nick?
How'd you come up with the songs to sing, or was that part of the script and you had to memorize the song and the tune and everything? Or did they say, insert Alan singing here?
No, Fred Freiberger would would name the song, and then on the day that we came to sing it, he'd say, "You can't sing that song because we can't get the copyright to it. We'll have to make up something." So then we'd make up. I couldn't sing Happy Birthday because you have to pay the rights to that.
Right.
There was one song I sang was "Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile." Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. Something like that. But you see now that song is over 100 years old, so nobody's got the copyright to that. We could do that one. But there was another one I sang in one of the ones, I think it was when we were on, we'd returned to Earth from Bannockburn, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
And I sang something about burn fire bright or something. And he asked me just to make it up, and I said, "Fred, this is bullshit, you know. Why would I be doing this stuff?" I really didn't get on with him. I just thought he was a wacky guy. And I thought he tried to make my character look like a moron, quite frankly. And it just wasn't what Alan Carter did in the first series at all. And so I had some of those silly moments of singing. Like also, I think the stuff what he did with Tony with the beer, you know. I don't know how Tony got on, because his name really is Tony, to have done that stuff, you know. It was childish. Fred had a very childish look and feel about the series, and some of those pantomime monsters that came on board with us, so they looked like they were end of Blackpool Pier drag queens, you know, with their big hats and jewellery hanging off them and stuff. I mean, it's just really silly and pathetic. Sorry, because I liked the whole concept, the original concept of the series, and wish we could have kept going that way. But, you know, Sylvia Anderson was very, very responsible for the look and the feel of the show. And I don't know what went wrong with their marriage. I was not privy to, you know, what went on behind closed doors. But she was a lovely lady. And when they broke up, Jerry just decided that anything and everything she'd done with the show was out, and that there was somebody that was prepared to find a new look and a new feel for it. He would be happy to do that. I mean, that's fairly a simplistic way of putting it, because basically the show was finished after the first series. We were all told that it would not be going ahead, and so we were to go about our own lives. And we were off air for nearly a year, which is not what happens with television series that have a continuation. And I think most of the sets, it was kind of remarkable that the sets weren't all trashed. He finally decided after about a 10-month break that they would start the series again, but in a very different way, much cheaper. Moonbase Alpha was cut in half in size. They got rid of Barry Morse, Prentice Hancock, Clifton Jones, myself and Xenia. We were all out. And the only two people that were going back were Martin and Barbara. And when Jerry finally asked me back to meet with him, 6 days before they were due to start shooting. They were going to start shooting on the Monday following, and I was asked in on the Tuesday, 6 days before that Monday, to meet Jerry Anderson. And I had said to my agent for 3 months before that, "How come I'm not back in the show?" And she said, "We don't know anything. We don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it. But all we know is that they're recasting the show entirely." And I mean, I've told this story many times before, so you're probably all bored to death with it. But I went down to meet Jerry just on a kind of a perverse moment. And he told me that in fact the series was going ahead, and that they had 7 episodes already totally written, and I think another 7 in first draft stage. And they had decided, due to my fan base, that they really had to have me back in the show, and that it was a mistake to have dropped me. And he told me that privately, before I met Fred Freiberger. He said, "I want you to know that you're back because they've done the research and discovered that your character was fiercely popular, and it would be a mistake not to have you. And I said, but you're going to start on Monday. How could you possibly use me? He said, well, you need to talk to Fred Freiberger about that. Do you want to meet him? And I said, well, if you want me in the series, and if I'm going to accept to be in the series, I guess I have to know who the producer's going to be. So he came into the room and we met. And he made all kinds of friendly noises and how he was so excited I was coming on board and everything, and how they were going to welcome me back with open arms. And he told me that the main reason I was back was because of his kids. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, my kids have seen every episode of Space 1999 and they loved it. And when I told them that you, Alan Carter, wasn't going to be in the show, they were the ones that convinced me that you should be, because they liked your character so much, and we've since done research and found out that you were popular. So I bowed to their better knowledge. I knew he was a dickhead from that minute on.